Welcome to a special episode of Dear Diary. I'm Amanda Beatty, your host and self-love embodiment coach. And in today's episode, our real life coaching series, we're going to dive into your questions that you submitted and help us navigate life's twists and turns. Join me on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment as we uncover practical strategies and insightful wisdom. I'm also going to be sharing insights and breakthroughs from my own clients' journeys. So don't forget, submit your questions through the link in the show notes, and let's get ready to journey together. I'm excited for today's episode, and I think you will resonate with some of it as well. Let's begin. Welcome back to Dear Diary, the Self-Love Podcast, and this is your real life coaching series episode. I'm really excited for this one because I feel like I resonate so deeply, and I'm sure that you all will too. So the question for today was, how in the world do you release control? I am a chronic control freak, and just let yourself be and trust that the universe will put you where you truly need to be instead of making it happen yourself. Letting go of control. So I have a previous episode on this where I spoke about trying to control and creating suffering in my life because of that and not even realizing it. So I'm excited to sort of dive a little bit further into this and answer your question. So if you have any questions, please click the link in the show notes and you can fill out the little form, ask your questions, and be featured on an upcoming podcast episode. So here's the thing. I think that what we all need to realize is that anywhere in our life where we are trying to control things, whether it's things within us, things outside of us, other people, situations, our children, the trajectory of our life, I think it's essential to realize that our desire for this control it's there to serve us, right? Even though it doesn't really. It's there to serve us and provide this sense of security, right? If I can control this situation, then I can stay safe. So it's a lot of like security, safety, empowerment, right? So learning to let go of the need for control is really about cultivating trust in yourself, in others, and even in the universe, source, God, whatever you say, so that you can bring this greater sense of ease and flow into your life. So where do we see these situations, right? Where we're trying to control things? A lot of times, like I mentioned, there's fear. Fear of failure can drive people to seek control as a means of minimizing risks and ensuring success. So like if I can take control of this, then I will be sure that I will be successful. So it's like this overexertion of control, trying to micromanage every aspect of whatever this is, a person, a relationship, whatever, so that you can prevent unwanted outcomes. And it sort of gives you this false sense of safety, but it's false, right? We can't control anything outside of us. And the more we start to realize that anything that's outside of us is out of our control, the more that we can come home, go inward, and tune into what's happening inside of us. So, fear of failure, got it. The need for certainty, right? That's sort of like a strong aspect of what my control is like this level of predictability in my life. Feeling anxious or unsettled when things are uncertain or I don't know what's going to happen. This is sort of the season that I'm in, and it's felt very overwhelming of like, where do I go from here? What is going to happen from here? What do I need to do right? There's that like, what do I have to do to get me out of this? And sometimes there's nothing to do but trust. And there's no action in trusting, right? Then there's the perfectionism, the people pleasing, the, having high standards, really struggling to delegate tasks or trust others outside of ourselves because we believe that we can't do it. We can't get it done right if it's done by somebody else, right? I literally had this example this weekend of like, if I need it done right, what is that saying? If you need it done right, just do it yourself. Like, I feel that I resonate so hard with that. And sometimes that is that like hypervigilance of always needing to take control because I don't want to be disappointed, because I don't want to be let down, right? Asking my partner to help me with chores around the house. In my head, I'm thinking, if I ask, I'm only going to be met with resistance, complaints, maybe what if he says no? What if, and it's like, actually, I get to ask for my needs to be met. I get to ask to have support. What if he does say no? Okay. What if he does complain? So what? Right? I'm getting help with the chores around the house. And so I had this big lesson this weekend of like, letting go of this need for control, of this need for perfectionism, right? Because I can't stand how he loads the dishwasher. Like, I could load the dishwasher in one shot and take care of all the dishes. It would take him like 2 or 3 loads because he doesn't load it right, right? Like, that's perfectionism, trying to control every detail. And so it gives me more work to do because I have this level of control. And for some people, I think it gives them a sense of identity, a sense of self-worth that can be closely tied to their ability to control outcomes, right? So it's like they're equating success with being in control and the fear of losing that sense of identity if they relinquish control. So I think there's a lot of different aspects, a lot of different levels. Some you may resonate with more than others. And then there's also this external pressure, right? Whether it's from society or our family or our cultures or how you were raised to meet expectations, maintain a certain image, right? You may be compelled to force results to fulfill some sort of like external standard or to avoid judgment, right? There's that like energy in there too. Then there's the energy or flavor of a lack of trust in yourself or others, right? So this goes back to the dishes example. I did feel like I couldn't rely on my partner for support. So I just needed to take matters into my own hands. I couldn't rely on him because he would have said no or he would have complained. Now that's a projection on me. I didn't know that. I wasn't, even if it did happen, so what? But it was like that little ounce of like rejection. It was like, no, I'll just do it myself. Right? And then that creates resentment in me. So it's like, it's this circle. And then the last flavor, if you will, or essence of this need for control would be past traumas, right? I think in a lot of our experiences, they all lead back to the root cause, the underlying foundational piece of what we're experiencing in these patterns that keep showing up in our lives is our past experiences. Trauma, loss, betrayal, all of those things can create this heightened need for control as a way to protect yourself from harm. So it's serving as a defense mechanism to avoid vulnerability, emotional pain, judgment, anything like that, right? So it really, I think, to look at why do you think that it is that you need to control? Going back a little bit to root cause of like, where do I notice this pattern in my life? And Maybe it's everywhere, right? Maybe for me, it's like in my partnership, it's in my business, it's with parenting. Even with parenting, we have two totally different styles. I take more of a gentle approach and he doesn't. And I think men and women are different and that's okay, right? He brings the flavor of authority and respect and tolerance into our parenting dynamic, and I bring more of the love and the compassion and the feelings and the emotion and the take a deep breath when you're feeling sad, right? And so we balance each other out. We do, but there's also this aspect of like, no, I'm afraid of causing some sort of internal conflict with our son, being too harsh, right? So I try to control it by being super soft and gentle. So it's really there's a there's a balancing act of like, where is this happening? Where do you see this pattern existing in your life? And when's the first time you noticed it, right? Thinking back, looking back in your timeline, where did you first notice it? And so getting clear about that, I think, is helpful at first. And moving forward, there's this really important piece for you to realize. And that is this: releasing control doesn't have to look like becoming passive or complacent or just giving up, right? It's not about gaslighting yourself. It's about aligning your actions and your energy behind your actions with your intentions. And then trusting that the universe, God, source, whatever, will handle the rest. And as you practice this dance of trusting and surrendering, both internally and externally, you start to experience more flow, more alignment, and you start to trust this process more. You start to trust yourself more. And it's so funny because this is the first of a few questions that were asked that we're going to do episodes on. And it's so funny because all of the questions, like, thank you, universe, for sending me these synchronicities, they all are issues that I'm currently navigating, right? I am in the arena with you guys. I say this all of the time. And so it makes me giggle because I'm in this right now, like learning how to trust and surrender and let go of the outcome and just know that my actions, my energy, and my desires are in alignment with what I desire to experience, how I desire to show up in this world. I am in integrity with myself. And then I let go. I let go of the outcome. I let go of whatever's going to happen from there. And I trust that I am the co-creator of my world, right? I am the co-creator. I don't remember who said that. I believe it was, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that say it, but I think it was Abraham Hicks one time in a YouTube video where she talks about being the co-creator. Oh, actually, I think it was in The Artist's Way. I take that back. It was in The Artist's Way. She talks about being the co-creator. You're not the sole creator. You are the co-creator of your existence, of your life, of your circumstances. So there's another bigger, whatever you want to call it, out there, God, universe, source, oneness, whatever, that you are dancing with life with. And so it's not all in your hands. It's not all in your control, even if you tried to control every single aspect. So I think let's talk about a few things that have supported me in this journey, okay? Understanding the law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. So meaning when I say that, the energy that you emit through your thoughts, your feelings, your actions attracts a similar energy into your life. So by focusing on this trust and surrender and abundance and flow and whatever it is that you're trying to control, whatever outcome you do desire to have on the other side, without focusing on how you're going to make it happen, you naturally start to draw in more of these experiences and more of this energy into your reality without having to force it, right? It's like set it and forget it. You know what's in alignment. You know the energy. You get to trust that if you just stay in that vibration, that you're going to get where you need to go. And that's it. There's nothing for you to do, right? Practicing surrendering is another way. And it's not easy. None of this is easy, but just starting small, practicing the surrender in everyday situations. So what does that look like? For me, it looks like noticing when I feel the urge to control an outcome and like consciously choosing to let go instead, trusting that everything's going to work out the way that it's meant to. Sometimes I feel that like when I put out an offer, or when I put out a really intentional, thoughtful post or podcast episode or newsletter or whatever, and I immediately, like, before I send it, I'm like, okay, I want it to reach people. I want it to impact people. I want people to sign up for this offer. I want to help. I want to support. How can I make it better? How can I like, how? It's a lot of questions of like, what do I need to do in order for it to be? And then it's like, oh, wait, nope, there that is again. I'm trying to control the outcome of whatever this is that I'm birthing out into the world. I'm trying to control who gets to see it and who's going to respond to it and who wants to act on the offer or whatever. And it's like, actually, no. I like literally have a moment where I'm like heart to hand and breathe, and it will land to exactly who it's meant to, and it will be received by exactly who it's meant to. And that's it. There's nothing for me to do other than just get into alignment and let it go. So, and in order to do that, what I'm doing in that moment is I'm connecting to that inner guidance, right? I'm like spending quiet time and reflection with my inner guidance system, trusting that my intuition is leading me in the right direction. Like whatever I said in the email, whatever offer I am releasing, whatever I'm sharing in a post, right? It's like tuning into this, into my emotions and the energy behind whatever it is I'm doing. And if it feels correct, if it feels aligned, if it feels expansive, I'm on the right path. I don't need to do anything else. If it feels reachy, grabby, controlly, constricted, forced, then I'm not. And I got to take a pause. I can't tell you. I literally took a podcast break for like 2 months because every time I sat down here with the mic, it was like, ugh, I don't know what to share. I don't want to share. I just like, and if I would have shared anyway, it probably wouldn't have come across the way that I wanted it to. It wouldn't have been reached by the people I wanted it to. And it just would have felt forced because I was trying to control my views and the way I show up and the consistency and da 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 da. So I just let it be. I trusted that it was perfect timing, even though I felt like, should I show up more? Like, am I giving up? What is this? I just let it go. So that was me releasing my attachment to the outcome. Because if I would have forced myself, I would have created that resistance and I would have limited the flow of what this podcast means to me in true alignment, which is fun and just a place for me to share my voice and have it be received by exactly the right person. There's no forcing about this. And so why would I start now, right? So I guess the other way, there's a few more things. One would be getting in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle teaches the power of being present. When you can focus on the present moment, you release anxiety about the future and regrets about the past, and it helps you really tune into what it would feel like to trust that you're in exactly the right moment, exactly where you need to be, and that opportunities will unfold naturally, right? Like, I'm exactly enough in this moment. I'm doing enough. I am enough. There's nothing that I need to do or change or fix here. I say that a lot during my somatic meditations. And I think it's really important. And I've had a lot of people reach out and say, like, I needed to hear that in that moment. But I say this a lot in the beginning of a lot of my somatic sessions. And it's like, there's nothing, we're just here to be in this moment. There's nothing for us to do or change or fix. Let the thoughts come and go, right? Because we're always trying to fix shit. We're always trying to control and fix shit. And sometimes just like letting go. Trust that your desires are meant to be where you're headed. Be in alignment with that energy and then just let it the fuck go. Easier said than done, I know. And I think another thing that's really helpful too is to pay attention to the synchronicities and the signs from the universe that confirm that you're on the right path, and just celebrate those little moments as evidence that you're doing it exactly right. It's the universe's way of guiding and supporting you, and knowing that that masculine force and control isn't going to get you to where you need to be. Like you need the balance of that, right? And I don't want to go too much into masculine and feminine because, well, that'll be another entire podcast episode. But I am going to talk a little bit about that. The need for control a lot of times it's a very masculine energy. From a somatic perspective, the constant need for control to force or make something happen in life, it often stems from a trauma response, like that's deeply rooted in our nervous system. And so this response, this masculine response to control or force or add pressure or to make it happen, it stems from experiences or past traumas where we felt unsafe, where we felt powerless, or things were out of control around us. So as a result, our body's natural defense mechanism kicks in these moments, and it urges us to take charge and to maintain this sense of control, to protect ourselves from further harm. And so that worked when we were kids, right? If we were in chaotic environments or faced abuse, or even just at a time when our needs weren't being met and we thought we needed to control the situation or who we were in order to have our desires be met, our needs be met. And that may have been true then, but it's not necessarily true now. But your body, your nervous system, your cells and your tissues don't know the difference. So this need for control, this masculine energy which is characterized by this like assertive action and structure, it is essential. It is essential for taking action. We do need the balance of the masculine and the feminine. We do get to achieve goals and take action and move forward. But sometimes when you are balanced too far in the masculine, that leads to stress and burnout and pressure and like the hyper desire for control and rigidity. And it's too much. And I know this because I speak from truth. I was really in my masculine, like needing to take control of the situation, or there was a lot of doing involved in my action and forward momentum and pressure and to-do lists. And when I started to relax and soften into my feminine, I got this softer flow. I was able to achieve more balance. mixing some of that feminine energy, which is nurturing, receptive, intuitive, and it sort of counterbalances some of that assertiveness that is masculinity. And we're not talking about men and women, male and female here. This is both energies. Everyone has both. I probably should have started with that. So I invite you, if you feel like you are truly in your masculine energy, to start getting curious about what it would feel like to tap into some of more of your feminine energy. What would it feel like to cultivate qualities such as surrender and trust and flexibility and flow? What would it feel like to let go of this project or this thing that you feel like you need to force in order to see results and see an outcome? And what if you just took action? You still need the action, but maybe it looked like baby steps and then trust, right? Action and then, but intuitive action, and then surrender to the outcome. So I hope this was helpful. I could go on for days about masculine and feminine because it's been something that I've been on the journey with in the last year. And there's a lot of nuances to this conversation. But I hope that this was helpful. Please feel free to reach out to me, share this in your stories if it is. And if you can relate to it, I feel like society as a whole, a lot of us are tuned into our masculine energies more so than our feminine. And it can work the opposite, where you can be too strong in your feminine and not enough in your masculine, where you just let go and let flow, and there's no action, there's no forward momentum, there's no structure. So you really do need a balance of both. But I can assure you that if you are able to sort of relax and soften the need for control and just trust that you're exactly where you need to be, there's nothing for you to do or change or fix or like pressure or force your way in. If you're taking aligned action, and you are aligned to the correct energy of whatever it is that you are trying to create, birth, manifest, move towards, experience, then you're going to be just fine. A lot of times it's literally as simple, air quotes, as aligning to the correct energy of the thing that you desire. And that's the thing that might be off. It's not that you're doing anything wrong or you're not doing enough of it. Chances are it might be just a different energy, a different vibrational match. So, and that's a topic for another day too. Thank you for listening. I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you on the next podcast episode. Keep your questions coming. I will link where you can fill that out in the show notes. It takes 2 minutes, and I'm excited to connect with you further. I love these. And that is it for today's episode. I hope that these words activated and inspired something inside of you. And if they did, please share this episode with a friend or on your social media, and feel free to tag me so that I can say thank you. The more people who hear these words along their path, the more we can help inspire and heal the world. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a review. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Sending love and light until next time. I'll see you soon.